She's the boss's daughter. That's what they told me when they called me into the conference room on that gray Tuesday morning. As if those 4 words justified everything. Yet within 8 weeks, that same corporation watched their market dominance crumble while I walked into my new corner office as Chief Innovation Officer at their most aggressive competitor, carrying a patent valued at $55 million. My name is Audrey Dalton, and at 41, I dedicated the previous 12 years to building Vanguard Dynamics' artificial intelligence division from an ambitious concept into an industry powerhouse generating $500 million in annual revenue. That morning in late September when Helen from Human Resources sent a calendar invitation for an unexpected leadership alignment meeting at 10 o'clock, every instinct I possessed screamed warning. Vanguard didn't do unexpected. We operated on quarterly roadmaps, weekly sprint reviews, and meticulously documented decision frameworks. Spontaneity was what happened to disorganized companies, not to us. The executive boardroom on the 42nd floor reeked of fresh flowers and anxiety. Someone had arranged an elaborate spread across the glass conference table. Imported cheeses, exotic fruits, those ridiculous gold-dusted chocolates that cost more per pound than decent champagne. The kind of display we reserved for acquisition announcements or mass terminations. A banner stretched across the panoramic windows overlooking downtown Seattle, its glittery purple letters spelling out, "Welcome to Leadership, Paisley," in a font that belonged on a beauty pageant sash. Helen occupied the far corner, methodically destroying a paper napkin in her lap. Beside her sat our CEO, Michael Holt, examining his Rolex as though it might reveal alternate timelines where this conversation wasn't happening. The chair I'd occupied for 7 consecutive quarterly strategy sessions. My chair, positioned at Michael's right hand, was already claimed. Paisley Holt couldn't have been older than 26, her attention absorbed by her phone screen, thumbs flying across the keyboard with the urgent intensity of someone negotiating world peace rather than responding to social media comments. Her manicured nails, each one painted a different pastel shade, clicked against the rose gold case. "Audrey, please have a seat," Michael finally managed, gesturing toward a chair positioned against the wall. "Guest seating. Observer seating. Irrelevant person seating." I remained standing. "What's happening here, Michael?" "The board has made a strategic decision," he began, deploying that carefully modulated tone he used during earnings calls when explaining disappointing numbers to impatient investors. "We're implementing a generational transition in our leadership structure. Fresh perspectives, innovative thinking, disruptive approaches to traditional problems." Paisley glanced up from her device long enough to offer me a smile that radiated the supreme confidence of someone who'd never earned a single achievement. I recognized her from the holiday party circuit, always positioned near her father's elbow, documenting every moment for her lifestyle content platform. "Generational transition," I repeated, keeping my voice level. "We're 6 weeks from launching the Athena protocol. My team has been running at 112% capacity. Our efficiency metrics are the strongest they've been in company history." "That's precisely the kind of rigid framework we need to evolve beyond," Paisley interjected, her voice carrying the absolute certainty of someone who'd never faced actual consequences. "I've been researching disruptive methodologies through my content creation work, and what the tech industry desperately needs right now is authenticity, not automation. Heart, not algorithms. Content creation work." I'd investigated her profile months earlier out of professional curiosity. 370,000 followers watching her demonstrate morning skincare routines and rank overpriced coffee shops. Her biography proclaimed her a digital visionary and future tech leader. The tech leadership apparently manifested around the same time Michael needed someone to fill a senior executive position without the messy complication of a genuine search process. "Your separation package is extremely generous," Helen offered, sliding a leather portfolio across the table. 6 months' salary, comprehensive health coverage through next calendar year, and naturally enthusiastic references for whatever opportunity you pursue next. I didn't touch the portfolio. "And my team? They'll transition under Paisley's guidance," Michael said. "She's developed some revolutionary management philosophies that we're excited to implement. More collaborative, less hierarchical, focused on emotional intelligence rather than pure technical execution." "Wellness Wednesdays," Paisley added brightly. "I'm envisioning mandatory mindfulness sessions, creative visualization workshops, And we're completely reimagining the workspace aesthetic. Less screens, more authentic human connection. Less screens. In an artificial intelligence development department, I studied Michael, searching for any trace of the brilliant engineer who'd once spent 72 consecutive hours helping me debug the neural network architecture that became our flagship product. The man who'd celebrated with cheap champagne when we finally cracked the natural language processing problem that had stumped every competitor. He was gone, replaced by this corporate automaton dancing to whatever tune his board of directors played. When does this take effect? I asked simply. Immediately. Security will escort you to collect your personal belongings. We'll need your access credentials, company electronics, and any materials related to active projects. Any materials. As though 12 years of breakthroughs could be boxed up like staplers and family photos. As though the countless midnight revelations, the moments of pure creative clarity, the patents pending under my direct supervision were just materials. Understood, I said, allowing myself the faintest smile that made Helen shift uncomfortably. I'll gather my things. Paisley was already rearranging items on the conference table, moving my usual coffee mug aside to make space for what appeared to be a collection of healing crystals and a small desktop fountain. This is going to be absolutely transformative, she announced to nobody in particular. I can already sense the energy shifting towards something more authentic. She had absolutely no comprehension of how accurate that statement would prove. The security officer escorting me to my workspace was Ramon, who I'd shared countless late-night pizza deliveries with during product launches and crisis management sessions. He looked physically ill. Ms. Dalton, I need you to understand this is strictly protocol. Nothing personal. I know, Ramon. You're just doing your job. My office, former office, looked exactly as I'd left it at 1:15 that morning. Circuit diagrams still covered every horizontal surface. 3 whiteboards displayed the mathematical proofs that had taken 9 months to perfect. Paisley would probably repurpose them for vision boards and manifestation exercises. I worked methodically, ignoring Ramon's uncomfortable hovering. Into the cardboard box went my collection of algorithm textbooks, their pages worn from constant reference. The framed photograph of my research team celebrating our first successful deployment. My personal journals. 7 years of observations, theories, and late-night breakthroughs documented in cramped handwriting. Each notebook dated, each one unquestionably mine. The desk drawer contained additional treasures. Backup drives labeled with project code names that would mean nothing to anyone who hadn't lived through the development process. The original cocktail napkin from Salvatore's where Michael and I had outlined the company's 10-year strategic vision. And there, beneath a stack of conference lanyards, the encrypted flash drive I'd been updating religiously for the past 20 months. My insurance policy, though I'd genuinely hoped I'd never need it. My phone vibrated. A message from Elizabeth Singh, a venture capital powerhouse who'd attempted to recruit me 3 separate times over the past 18 months. Tell me the rumors circulating aren't accurate. I didn't respond. Not yet. Another vibration. This time from Daniel, my lead algorithm architect. Emergency departmental meeting at 2 o'clock. Paisley wants to discuss reimagining our development philosophy. Should I start sending out resumes? Then another and another. Information traveled at light speed in technology circles, especially when the information involved this level of absurdity. I slipped the flash drive into my jacket pocket with the same casual motion as checking for car keys. Ramon was studying the ceiling tiles with intense fascination, providing me the privacy he wasn't technically supposed to allow. Good man. My personal belongings fit into one depressingly small container. 12 years compressed into something I could carry with one arm. I left the awards mounted on the wall. Innovation Excellence 5 consecutive years. Distinguished Achievement in Artificial Intelligence from the International Technology Council. Let Paisley explain those to curious visitors. Is that everything? Ramon asked, clearly hoping I'd confirm. I surveyed the space that had been more home than my actual apartment for the better part of a decade. The prototype neural processor on the side table. 3 years of refinement crystallized in its elegant architecture. The testing equipment I'd purchased with personal funds when departmental budgets ran short. The reference materials that would be incomprehensible gibberish to someone who thought authentic human connection mattered more than computational power. That's everything that belongs to me, I said carefully. We navigated through corridors I'd helped design, past laboratories I'd personally equipped, around the corner from server rooms housing code I'd written. Employees emerged from cubicles like startled rabbits, some offering sympathetic grimaces, others already calculating their own exit strategies. In the main lobby, Ramon extended his hand for my security badge. The photograph showed me 4 years younger, still naive enough to believe loyalty and excellence mattered more than nepotism. I unclipped it slowly, feeling the weight of the magnetic strip that had opened every door in this building. Now it would open exactly none. "Take care of yourself, Miss Dalton," Ramon said quietly. "And good luck." I smiled, the first genuine expression I'd permitted all morning. "Thanks, Ramon. But I don't think luck is going to be a factor." The September air hit crisp and clean after the recycled atmosphere inside. My vehicle sat in the reserved spot I'd earned years ago. Second level, fourth space from the elevator, optimal distance from both the entrance and the afternoon sun. Habits that no longer held any meaning. I placed the box in my trunk beside my gym bag, then sat behind the wheel without starting the engine. Through the building's glass facade, I could observe the executive boardroom where my professional execution had occurred. Paisley remained there, gesticulating wildly, probably explaining her revolutionary concepts to whatever unfortunate souls had been summoned to hear them. My phone buzzed again. A LinkedIn notification. 5 recruiters had already made contact. The industry's information network operated faster than fiber optics. But I wasn't ready for recruitment offers. Not yet. First, I had documentation to organize, evidence to review, and a specific encrypted flash drive to examine in detail. Vanguard Dynamics believed they'd eliminated dead weight, streamlined their structure to accommodate fresh blood and innovative thinking. They had zero comprehension of what they'd just set in motion. I started the engine and drove away from 12 years of my professional life, leaving behind only what they incorrectly assumed they owned. Everything that actually mattered, every innovation, every breakthrough, every piece of intellectual property I'd carefully developed during my own time, departed with me in my jacket pocket. The flash drive felt warm against my fingertips. 20 months of late nights working from home, pursuing something Vanguard had explicitly deemed not aligned with current strategic priorities. Something I'd never disclosed, never documented in company systems, never developed using company resources. Something that was about to become extraordinarily valuable to the correct buyer. Monday morning arrived, 9:17. Daniel sent me a photograph from Vanguard's development floor. Where our traditional standing desks and triple monitor arrays once stood, Paisley had installed meditation cushions and what appeared to be a creative inspiration corner, complete with adult coloring books and essential oil diffusers. The caption read, "Day 1 of Heart over Algorithms. Please send immediate assistance." By Wednesday, the messages evolved from amused to genuinely alarmed. She just eliminated our agile framework entirely. Claims were transitioning to something called intuitive flow development. Nobody has any idea what that means, including her. Thursday brought the first departure. Christopher Lauron, our senior machine learning architect, updated his LinkedIn status to actively seeking new opportunities. His farewell email to the department, which Daniel forwarded immediately, was professionally worded, but the underlying message was unmistakable. Abandon ship. Friday, however. Friday was when Paisley truly exceeded all expectations. Crisis situation. Daniel called me at 3:20 in the afternoon, his voice tight with barely controlled panic. She sent incorrect specifications to Apex Manufacturing. The entire neural processor component order. Apex was our primary fabricator for the specialized chips essential to the Athena protocol. The specifications required absolute precision down to the nanometer level. 1 decimal point miscalculated and the entire system would catastrophically fail. How incorrect? I asked, already knowing the answer would be devastating. She converted all measurements to make them more accessible for the team. Rounded everything to the nearest whole number because the decimal points were, and I quote, unnecessarily complicated and exclusionary to non-technical stakeholders. I closed my eyes, calculating rapidly. 85,000 units currently being manufactured with tolerances that would make a kindergarten art project look precision-engineered. At $62 per unit plus expedited delivery plus contractual penalties for delayed deployment. That's approximately $5.3 million down the drain, I said quietly. It gets significantly worse. When Apex called to confirm the highly unusual specifications, she informed them we were embracing innovative approaches to traditional engineering constraints and authorized the complete production run. By the following Monday, 4 additional engineers had submitted resignations. The quarterly investor presentation I'd meticulously prepared, complete with projections demonstrating we'd exceed targets by 18%, had been replaced by what Paisley called a vision-sharing circle, where team members were encouraged to express their emotional relationship with artificial intelligence. My phone hadn't stopped vibrating. Recruiters, former colleagues, competitors, everyone wanted to understand what had genuinely happened. But the most intriguing message arrived from an unexpected source. Victor Ashford, Chief Technology Officer at Crimson Enterprises, Vanguard's most aggressive emerging competitor. His email was remarkably brief. Heard you might be exploring new opportunities. We should discuss this. Confidentially. I knew Victor by reputation. Stanford doctorate for successful company exits, and a tendency to recruit the absolute best talent regardless of cost. Crimson had been circling Vanguard's market share for 3 years, consistently a step behind in innovation. They had capital, ambition, and infrastructure. What they conspicuously lacked was the breakthrough technology to genuinely compete. Technology exactly like what resided on the encrypted flash drive in my home safe. News of Vanguard's manufacturing catastrophe hit TechCrunch by Tuesday afternoon. Vanguard Dynamics faces $5.3 million loss in specification error, ran alongside speculation about recent leadership restructuring. The stock dropped 6% in after-hours trading. Paisley's response was posting an Instagram story about embracing failure as a growth opportunity, featuring her performing yoga poses in what used to be my office. Wednesday brought another wave of departures. The entire quality control team submitted their notices simultaneously, a coordinated exodus that spoke volumes about departmental morale. Daniel remained, but his messages grew increasingly desperate. She just asked why we can't develop neural networks that operate on positive energy instead of electricity. I explained fundamental physics. She accused me of being limited by traditional scientific thinking. By Thursday, the board was demanding explanations. Michael scheduled emergency executive sessions. Paisley posted about toxic workplace resistance to innovation without a trace of self-awareness. Then the catastrophic blow arrived. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, our head of advanced research and my closest collaborator for 8 years, announced she was departing for a competitor. Yuki held 3 doctorates and 23 patents. She was functionally irreplaceable. Her departure email was forwarded to me within minutes. After considerable reflection, I've decided to pursue opportunities where scientific methodology is valued over manifestation techniques. That evening, as Vanguard's implosion accelerated, I opened my laptop and accessed the 20 months of documentation I'd meticulously maintained. Every breakthrough, every innovation, every moment of clarity that emerged while working at home on my personal equipment, pursuing an idea Vanguard had explicitly instructed me to abandon. Outside our strategic focus, Michael had declared when I'd pitched the initial concept. Shelve it and concentrate on approved initiatives. So I had. Officially. But genius doesn't operate on a schedule. And the most significant ideas often emerge when someone tells you to stop thinking about them. I composed a simple response to Victor Ashford. I'm interested in hearing more. His reply arrived within 4 minutes. Tomorrow. 2 o'clock. The Cascade Club downtown. Private dining room. Come alone. I smiled, thinking of Paisley in my former office, surrounded by crystals and defective components, attempting to understand why her heart-centered approach to engineering wasn't generating the results she'd confidently promised. She wanted to disrupt the industry. She had zero comprehension of what genuine disruption actually looked like. But she was about to receive a comprehensive education. The Cascade Club's private dining room offered sweeping views of the Seattle skyline where I'd spent the previous 12 years building my professional reputation. Victor Ashford was already waiting, studying what appeared to be Vanguard's most recent quarterly report. He stood when I entered, a courtesy I genuinely appreciated. Audrey, thank you for meeting with me. His handshake was firm, his smile authentic. I took the liberty of ordering lunch. Hope you still prefer salmon. He'd done his research. I appreciated thoroughness. Let's dispense with pleasantries, I said, settling into the leather chair across from him. You didn't invite me here to discuss seafood preferences. Victor laughed, a genuine sound that filled the space. Direct approach. Excellent. Here's what I understand. Vanguard just lost the most brilliant AI architect in the industry to nepotism. Their Athena protocol is hemorrhaging capital and talent. And you're in possession of something that makes Athena look like a high school science project. I maintained a neutral expression. That's quite a theory. It's not theoretical. He produced a tablet displaying a patent application timeline. 20 months ago, Vanguard filed preliminary documentation for a revolutionary neural processing system. Then complete silence. The project vanished from all official records. But you continued working, didn't you? Nights, weekends, using personal resources after your employer explicitly declined to pursue it. Hypothetically speaking, I said carefully, if someone developed technology independently outside of work hours, using personal equipment and resources after their employer explicitly rejected the concept, then that technology would belong exclusively to them, not the employer. Victor leaned forward. I have a legal team that could make that case absolutely bulletproof. The server arrived with our meals. We ate in silence for a moment, both calculating our next strategic moves. What do you know about this technology? Asked finally. I know you've solved the parallel processing limitation that's constrained neural networks for 15 years. I know your solution increases computational efficiency by roughly 400% while reducing power consumption by 60%. And I know Vanguard's board has absolutely no comprehension of what they just discarded. You've been monitoring the situation closely. I've been waiting strategically, Victor corrected. I have $65 million in Series C funding and a board that actually comprehends technology. I need someone who can deliver the breakthrough that positions Crimson ahead of every major competitor in the market. And you believe I'm that person? He smiled. I know you are. The question is whether you're prepared to stop playing defense and start playing offense. I thought about Paisley, probably leading another vision-sharing circle while critical initiatives collapsed around her. About Michael choosing family connections over innovation. About my team scattering across the industry because their new leader believed crystals were more important than code. I have conditions, I said. I'm listening. First, I lead the entire AI division. No interference. No oversight from people who don't understand the technology. Second, I bring my own team, Yuki Tanaka, Daniel Morrison, anyone from Vanguard who wants to transition. Third, compensation package includes equity. Real equity, not options that vest over a decade. Agreed, and agreed. Victor didn't even hesitate. What else? The patent for my neural processing technology remains in my name. Crimson gets exclusive licensing rights, but I retain ownership. That's unconventional. So is terminating your top engineer to accommodate an influencer who thinks algorithms should operate on positive energy. Victor nearly choked on his water. She actually said that? Among numerous other things. Last I heard, she was attempting to replace our testing protocols with intuitive energy assessments. Christ. He shook his head. All right, you keep the patent. We'll structure a licensing arrangement that benefits us both. Anything else? I pulled out my phone and showed him a photo Daniel had sent that morning. Paisley's latest innovation, a computational intention board, hanging where critical system architectures used to be displayed. I want a press release announcing my new position to go out the same day Crimson files the patent application for this technology. Maximum visibility. Victor's smile turned predatory. You want them to know exactly what they lost. I want the board to understand that when you prioritize Instagram followers over innovation, there are consequences. Consider it done. When can you start? I have documentation to organize first. Give me 3 weeks to ensure everything is properly structured and legally airtight. I want this completely bulletproof when we file. We discussed specifics over dessert, salary that tripled my Vanguard compensation, a signing bonus that would make Michael physically ill, and an equity stake that would make me wealthy when Crimson inevitably went public. By the time we shook hands, I'd transitioned from unemployed to one of the highest compensated CTOs in the Pacific Northwest. As I drove home, my phone illuminated with messages. Daniel reporting that Paisley had just announced they were pivoting from outdated computational engineering to consciousness-driven digital innovation. Yuki confirming she'd love to discuss opportunities at Crimson. 5 more engineers asking if I was hiring. But the most satisfying message came from Elizabeth Singh, the venture capitalist. Heard Crimson just made a major acquisition. Also heard Vanguard's investors are asking very difficult questions about the talent exodus. Karma works beautifully, doesn't it? I pulled into my garage and sat for a moment thinking about the encrypted flash drive in my safe. 20 months of work that Vanguard had ordered me to abandon. Work that would revolutionize neural processing. Work that was unquestionably legally mine. In 3 weeks, the patent application would be filed under my name with Crimson Enterprises as the exclusive licensee. The same day, every major technology publication would receive a press release announcing my new position. Paisley wanted to disrupt the industry. She was about to receive a masterclass in what actual disruption looked like. 4 weeks into Paisley's reign, Vanguard's AI department resembled a failing startup more than a division of a multi-million-dollar corporation. The exodus continued daily. My phone had become a confessional booth for former colleagues. She brought in a corporate shaman to help us align our code with universal frequencies, texted Evelyn Bennett, our former senior software engineer. He burned sage in the server room. Triggered the fire suppression system. We lost 16 hours of critical test data. The Tech Valley Forum, where industry insiders shared anonymous insights, had an entire thread dedicated to Vanguard's meltdown. Someone posting as Athena Ghost was documenting the catastrophe in real time. The latest entry made me wince despite myself. Day 31. New management attempted to reimagine our version control system. Deleted the main repository because it contained negative computational energy. Thank God for backups. Wait, she's now questioning why we need backups if we trust in the universal flow. Send immediate help. But the genuine catastrophe occurred during the quarterly investor call. Michael had always insisted I attend these sessions, walking investors through our technical progress with clarity and confidence. This time Paisley took the lead. Daniel, who'd remained as my eyes and ears inside Vanguard, sent me the transcript within minutes of the call ending. Reading it felt like watching a multi-car accident in slow motion. Investor question: can you update us on the Athena protocol patent timeline? Paisley: patents are such an outdated paradigm. We're moving beyond ownership into a space of shared digital consciousness. Why limit innovation with legal boundaries? Investor: are you saying you're not pursuing patent protection? Paisley: we're pursuing something more meaningful. A holistic approach to artificial intelligence that transcends traditional metrics and embraces authentic connection. Investor: what about the $5.3 million manufacturing loss? Paisley: that wasn't a loss. It was an investment in learning. Sometimes the universe teaches us through what conventional thinking might label failure, but I prefer to see it as cosmic redirection toward our authentic path. The stock dropped 16% in after-hours trading. By Friday, 4 major investors had requested emergency board meetings. The largest shareholder, Wellington Capital, issued a public statement expressing serious concerns about Vanguard's technical leadership and strategic direction. Meanwhile, at Crimson Enterprises, I was building something extraordinary. Yuki had joined immediately, bringing 3 of her most talented researchers. Daniel finally made the transition when Paisley suggested replacing Python with a more spiritually aligned programming language she'd apparently invented during a wellness retreat. She showed us syntax based on chakra energies, he explained during his first day at Crimson, still looking traumatized. Red for foundational functions, violet for higher-order operations. I asked how a compiler would interpret colors. She said I was thinking too literally and limiting my potential. Our team at Crimson worked with the focused intensity of people who'd been liberated from corporate insanity. No vision-sharing circles, no consciousness meetings, no corporate shamans. Just brilliant minds doing what they did best, solving complex problems with mathematics and science. The patent application was ready. My legal team had crafted it beautifully, clearly establishing the independent nature of the development. Every late night documented, every personal purchase of equipment receipted, every line of code written on my personal machines meticulously logged. Victor kept his promise about timing. The patent filing was scheduled for Monday morning at 9 o'clock. The press release would hit inboxes at 9:07. Sunday evening brought an unexpected call. Michael Holt himself. The first time we'd spoken since my termination. Audrey. His voice sounded strained, older somehow. I hope I'm not interrupting. Not at all. Just reviewing some documentation. A pause, heavy with unspoken regrets. Listen, I realize things ended poorly between us, but I'm calling to see if we might discuss a consulting arrangement. The Athena protocol needs guidance, and you know the technology better than anyone. I thought Paisley was handling that. Something about embracing authentic connection over traditional metrics. Audrey, please. The desperation in his voice was almost palpable. The board is applying enormous pressure. We've lost 47% of our engineering staff. The investors are threatening action. I need someone who actually understands. Michael, I interrupted, my voice calm. Do you know what I was doing at 1:15 in the morning the night before you terminated me? Silence. I was running final calculations on the neural processing technology that's now valued at $55 million. On my own time, using my own equipment because Vanguard told me to stop pursuing it. What? You didn't just fire an employee. You fired someone who worked on breakthrough technology in her garage because she couldn't stop thinking about the problem you told her to ignore. Audrey, You gave my position to someone who thinks neural networks should operate on positive energy. Who deleted our repository because it contained negative computational energy. Who caused millions in damages because she rounded nanometer specifications to whole numbers to make them more accessible. Michael's silence stretched painfully. I'm calling because we're not asking you to forgive us. We're asking for the opportunity to prove we've learned from this catastrophic mistake. Interesting perspective, I said, gathering my jacket. But I don't work for people who chose a lifestyle influencer over a proven engineer. I don't abandon teams that believed in me when their former employer didn't. And I certainly don't give second chances to those who never valued me in the first place. Is there nothing I can say? No, Michael. There isn't. You made your choice when you decided Paisley's Instagram following mattered more than my 12 years of dedication. I ended the call before he could respond. That night, sleep eluded me. Not from anxiety but from anticipation. I thought about every late night in my home laboratory. Every equation solved at 3 a.m. Every breakthrough that emerged because I refused to stop thinking about the problem Vanguard had ordered me to forget. My phone buzzed. A message from Yuki. Ready to change everything. I smiled in the darkness. Vanguard believed they'd terminated a difficult employee who wouldn't embrace their new direction. Tomorrow they'd discover they'd terminated the person who held their future in her hands and delivered it directly to their most aggressive competitor. The conference room at Crimson Enterprises had floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Vanguard's headquarters 4 blocks away. Poetic justice, really. Victor had assembled his senior leadership team for what he called a strategic announcement that will reshape the competitive landscape. Ladies and gentlemen, Victor began, his smile barely contained. I'd like to formally introduce our new Chief Innovation Officer for the Artificial Intelligence Division, Audrey Dalton. Polite applause filled the space, but I could see the genuine interest in their eyes. They understood the implications. Audrey comes to us with a unique asset, Victor continued. A revolutionary neural processing technology that will position Crimson at the absolute forefront of the AI industry. I'll let her explain. I stood, connecting my laptop to the presentation system. What you're about to see is 20 months of independent research that solves the 3 fundamental limitations with current neural processing: parallel computation bottlenecks, power consumption inefficiency, and production cost barriers. The slides detailed my breakthrough. A novel architecture that enabled true parallel processing while maintaining quantum coherence. The room grew silent as the implications became clear. Computational efficiency? Asked Dr. Robert Chin, our head of manufacturing. 412% improvement over current industry standards. Power consumption? Reduced by 63% compared to Athena protocol projections. Patent status? I smiled. Filed this morning at 9 o'clock. Fully protected under my name with Crimson holding exclusive licensing rights. The energy in the room transformed. This wasn't just a new hire. This was a complete reversal of the industry's power dynamics. When can we begin prototype production? Robert asked, already calculating timelines. Yuki's team will have working prototypes within 8 weeks. Full production capability within 5 months. Victor pulled up his phone. The press release went out 14 minutes ago. TechCrunch already has it as their lead story. I refreshed my email. The subject lines told the complete story. Breaking. Former Vanguard CTO joins Crimson with game-changing neural processing tech. Crimson Enterprises scores major victory in AI arms race. Audrey Dalton's next chapter. From terminated to revolutionary. My phone buzzed. Daniel still monitoring the situation at Vanguard. Emergency board meeting just called. Michael looks like he's seen a ghost. Paisley asking what a patent is and why everyone seems upset. The Financial Times notification appeared next. Vanguard Dynamics stock plummets 22% on news of competitors' technology breakthrough. Audrey, Victor said, his voice carrying a note of satisfaction. I believe you have a call scheduled with Wellington Capital. Right on schedule. My phone rang. Richard Wellington himself, Vanguard's largest investor. Audrey, I'll be direct. His voice was sharp, clipped. We need to discuss your technology. Vanguard's board is in crisis mode. They're claiming you developed this on company time using company resources. They're welcome to make any claims they wish, I replied calmly. My documentation proves otherwise. Every line of code, every experiment, every breakthrough, all conducted during personal time with personal resources after Vanguard explicitly refused to pursue the project. You have documentation. Time-stamped logs, equipment purchase receipts, utility bills showing power usage at my home laboratory during development hours, even security footage from my home system showing me working alone at 3 a.m. on weekends. My legal team has prepared a comprehensive package if Vanguard wants to challenge the patent. A long pause. What would it take to bring you and the technology back to Vanguard? There isn't a number large enough, Richard. They made their choice when they decided Instagram followers were more valuable than innovation. I've made mine. The board is prepared to make significant changes. Paisley would be. Good for them. I'm sure Paisley's consciousness-driven approach will guide them through this difficult period. I ended the call. The rest of the day became a blur of activity. Interview requests, congratulations from former colleagues, and increasingly frantic messages from Vanguard employees watching their stock options evaporate. Yuki knocked on my new office door around 6 o'clock. You need to see this. She showed me Paisley's Instagram story, a series of posts about toxic energy and innovation blockers who couldn't understand her vision. The final post was a photo of my old office, now decorated with dream catchers and meditation bells. Caption: sometimes you have to clear out the old energy to manifest the new. #embrace change, #innovation goddess, #tech healing. She has no idea, does she? Yuki asked. None whatsoever, I agreed. She's about to learn that you can't manifest neural processing technology or heal engineering problems with positive visualization. My email dinged. A message from Michael marked urgent. Audrey, we need to talk immediately. The board is asking questions I can't answer. Please. I archived it without responding. Victor appeared in my doorway. Bloomberg wants an exclusive interview. You interested? Absolutely. What angle are they pursuing? They're particularly interested in the valuation. What should I tell them? I considered for a moment. Tell them the technology is conservatively valued at $55 million in immediate licensing potential with exponential growth as production scales. Tell them Crimson will be first to market with neural processors that make every current solution obsolete. $55 million, Victor repeated, savoring the number.